Hello. Hi.
So I'm just checking in to see where you are. And I'm kind of curious of what we might talk about.
hmm
And perhaps where you begin in whole body focusing, where it all happened for you and why, or whatever comes to you about that experience. So that's my starting point. And I'm kind of curious of where your starting point might be here.
Let's see. Well, one important thing for me was when I met you and we started working with Wholebody Focusing. I already knew the skill of focusing. And because of what I was dealing with, which was a neck condition, quite painful, the focusing itself didn't seem to be enough. I was still drawn into the intensity of it too much. I know when we started working together and with whole body focusing, there were things that were included that began to fall into place for me that really helped along the whole pattern of pain and the underlying trauma that was there. And these are things that you emphasized to me in your training and working with me that has begun to play a big part in the way I train now, and based on that workbook. So one of the things is, for instance, that's the workbook, focusing with your whole body. It's a lovely, if I have fond memories of working with you together and how that workbook very naturally came out of our working together. That was a lovely experience of just spontaneous creation. But I'm so appreciative of the elements that you brought in with the way you were teaching and what we've come to call whole body focusing. And it has to do with what I call inner muscles, you could say, inner core muscles that are needed alongside and around focusing. Focusing the actual felt, that is the felt sensing, being with the place that needs attention. But in order for that focusing to come into its own, there are other things that I found in my experience that need to be in place, inner muscles that need to be activated and strengthened. And so that's very much what I emphasize now in my training that's based on that workbook. And one of the things is, of course, the inner muscle of me here. You know,
Yes.
the inner muscle of me here. And I think a muscle, it's not the perfect analogy, but it goes far enough. It's good enough because it takes time and attention to activate these muscles, to strengthen these muscles.
Yes.
And that's why in the training I do, I put a lot of emphasis on daily practice, because the whole embodied experience of me here doesn't just fall out of the sky during a session. It just you can't switch it on like that. It does come from something that's lived during the day in a natural way. So I emphasize a lot of periods where people just sit down and practice that every day, but also times, and this is I find extremely effective, is to, whenever you have some time during the day, say we spend a lot of time waiting, boiling the kettle, waiting in a queue, waiting for a red light, to take some time then, while we wait, take a pause for presence. Just go inside and feel presence, feel the groundedness. And it's just that switch from maybe being in your thinking, because that's where we usually are during the day, in our thoughts, to make that switch and go into the body for a few seconds. And just the breath, the ground, sensory perception of the red light, taking that in. Anything that makes you become present, aware, and a sense of aliveness.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, that's a lot. Sorry, that's a lot. Yeah.
I'm just appreciating it. I'm just taking it in, what you're saying, and how it is for me to do just that, the practice and taking that moment to take in. Because when I come back to me, my words are me here, it's similar. I get a very physical body experience of what that means to me now. It's in my center, it spreads through my core, and it brings me back to a physical sense of myself in balance with the thinking. So it's not just in my thoughts, it's in my body of a sense of me. It's hard to put word to it, but it's a definite physical experience of myself, once again. And I need to repeat that, particularly when I'm confused, which I can easily be in different situations. Just come back to me and then feel it once again.
Yeah.
Changes the experience of what's happening around me.
Yeah. And the more that's done, you're interspersing your day like that, the easier the access to it becomes. Because the pathways are then created, this switch from stepping out of thinking into the body and the sense of aliveness and presence.
Yes.
It's creating a new habit, so to speak.
Well, it does something, one more thing too. Often when I'm in conflict with somebody, or I feel listening to someone who's different than me and I'm having trouble, resonating with what they're saying, if I come back to a sense of me and find myself again, it's surprising. I can make room for you and the way you are different than me. So that changes my connection with you.
Yeah.
And I have space here for me, and now I have space for you. But it does start with coming back to myself first.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to understand, what are you saying here? I'm uncomfortable. What's going on here? No, I come back to here.
Yeah.
And I smile.
And that takes practice, because the habit is to go like this. What do you mean? And then just to step back. It's a bit going against the grain.
Nice.
In that sense, and conditioning. Yeah. And it takes practice. Yeah. When the me here muscle is being activated, and there is this sense of me here, alive, whilst I'm also not feeling okay. I mean, that sense of the me here makes it so much easier to just allow that to embrace that feeling of not being well, not being okay.